Nearly 2 weeks after the Mumbai Stampede that shook the conscience of the nation, comes a report from a 5-member panel of the Western Railways. A report that seemingly seeks to cover up more than it seeks to expose.
The inquiry report by the 5-member panel committee has given a clean chit to the railway authorities and officials on the Stampede incident in Elphinstone that cost 23 lives. And the reason that has been mentioned in the report, it states that rains and rumours.
Giving a clean chit to railway authorities and all the netas, the panel blames rain and rumours for the overcrowding and panic that caused the stampede that killed 23 people and left nearly 30 injured.
जो आई विटनेस के रिपोर्ट में लिए गए हैं उन सबसे यही नतीजा इस इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट में निकल के आया कि इस रूमर की वजह से और भारी बारिश की वजह से लोग स्टेशन में एकत्रित हुए जा रहे थे और पीछे से जो ट्रेन्स आ रही थी उनके और क्राउड पीछे से पुश ऑन हो रही थी और काफी पुश वगैरह ऊपर से भी आ रहा था, बाहर से लोग बारिश की वजह से निकलना नहीं चाह रहे थे.
The panel goes so far as to say the confusion between fool or flower and pull or bridge sparked panic, causing the stampede on the already overcrowded bridge. A conclusion that the Mumbaikar is not buying.
इसका जिम्मेदार पुल भी इतना सकड़ा है, सब पब्लिक कितनी इकट्ठी होती है इसमें, रेल वो परेल का सेंट्रल लाइन वेस्टर्न लाइन दोनों की पब्लिक एक पे ही आती है.
उस दिन जो गलती हुआ है अगर चौड़ा रहता तो हमारे हिसाब से ऐसा गलती नहीं होता.
बारिश जिम्मेदार नहीं है, रेलवे के प्रशासन ही जिम्मेदार है क्योंकि जो ब्रिज भी है बहुत छोटा है.
Blatant negligence coupled with a sham probe exposes how little human life means to our so-called netas and authorities. Mirror now questions the probe and asks, why are authorities not held responsible for the man-made tragedy? Why no questions asked of officers who brazenly ignored repeated petitions from commuters asking that the bridge be widened? Why has no one been blamed for infrastructure outdated by over a century? For the infrastructure that was never overhauled. Mirror Now report.
But remember how when that accident happened, we asked, does our government care about us? Does the government value the lives of the average Indian? Today we have our answer, and the answer is no. The government does not care about us. The government doesn't care if we die in the tens or the hundreds or the thousands. All they care about is finding a slithering way out of the pit so that they don't have to blame themselves. What happens when the railways inquires on the railways? What happens when every person in the government tries to find a way out of the problem so they can get away with their sort of inefficiency completely scot-free? I want to point out to you two things. Before I read to you this horrendous, appalling, insensitive and complete piece of garbage of a report that has been submitted today, I want to read for you this. Devendra Fadnavis put out one tweet about this incident. He was so busy over the last 12 days that he only had time to tweet about it when 23 people in his capital city died. This is the tweet. My heart goes out to the families of those who lost their loved ones. Enquiry will be conducted by the government of Maharashtra and the Ministry of Railways, and necessary strict action will be taken. Piyush Goyal, the Minister of Railways, incidentally also a Mumbaikar. It pained me in Mumbai when I saw the file where the foot-over bridge, which was approved, took months to finalize the design and prepare the documentation. A wake-up call for my colleagues in the railway. Mr. Goyal, if you were serious about that wake-up call, this would not be the report that came out today. Mr. Fadnavis, if you were serious about strict action, you would have done more than tweet, one tweet, and you would have made sure that this sort of deep insult to the citizens of Mumbai was not dealt out in the manner that it was dealt out today. Sudden downpour of heavy rains. Are you people joking? Downpour of heavy rains in the city of Mumbai? You're going to blame nature for this? Commuters couldn't understand the difference between the word fool and the word pull, We have spoken these two languages in this city for decades, for centuries. We've spoken Hindi and Marathi side to side, and that's what you're going to blame? This report does not even get into looking at what Piyush Goyal was saying, that his colleagues in the railways are corrupt and that they have not moved any of the work. Who is the government of Maharashtra and the government of India shielding? They're certainly not shielding us. Our phone lines are open, and tonight we are angry because we have every right to be. This government has told us over and over again, wait for the investigation, wait for the investigation. The investigation was a sham. Vishwas Pathak, spokesperson of the BJP, joins me on the show. Sanjay Jha of the Congress, Nawab Malik of the NCP, Rita Gupta of the MNS, Afroz Malik, president of the Jai Ho Foundation, Shailesh Gandhi, former Central Information Commissioner, and Sameer Zaveri is a railway expert. Vishwas Pathak, please mujhe samjhaiye, why is it that the government of Maharashtra, the government of India, the Ministry of Railways, Mr. Piyush Goyal, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, do not care about the citizens of Mumbai? Who are you protecting?
There is no question of protecting anyone, and we are caring, and I will just tell you what actions we have taken.
No.
It is a matter of fact. No, let me complete now. It is a matter of fact that this breach should have been widened, but it was not widened before 29th of
Have
September.
you, as the state of Maharashtra, rejected this report?
No,
that has
let me
come out
complete.
today?
I am coming to that. Don't ask me in bits and pieces. It should have been widened before 29th of September, but we failed, and for that purpose, high-level inquiry committee is instituted, wherein retired CVC person, railway board member, and all technical people are part of that committee.
It's going to be another sham.
That we will have to wait for that report.
No, we will not wait for any more reports from you. I'm sorry.
Let me complete.
Your second report will also. Why will your second report not be?
See,
do you
your
agree with this report?
Your recital is very.
Do you agree with this report? Yes or no?
See, I'll come to that.
No. I'm asking you. Do you agree with this report?
It is a constitutional process. We have set up the inquiry. Under railway, there is an inbuilt system wherein this chief security officer is conducting such kind of inquiries. He has conducted the inquiry, and he has given appeal to all the public. You come
Has
and
the
tell us.
government of Maharashtra
30
rejected
witnesses,
this report?
2 people came. How many media people went there? You take a credit that you are the messiah. Has any media people went there and appeared before the commission?
Is it my job? Is it my job to appear before the commission?
So your
I
job
was
is
not
just to
there.
shout and create confusion?
Yes, my job is to shout and create confusion.
Sorry,
Mr. Vishwas Pathak, does the government of Maharashtra agree with this report? No. You're done blaming me, now you answer my questions.
Yeah.
Does the government of Maharashtra agree with this report that has been submitted by the Indian Railways?
Yes.
You agree with it?
Yes.
All right, very good. Thank you.
No, let me complete.
You answered sudden downpour of heavy rain. Sudden downpour. I don't want perspective.
Please allow me to
sudden downpour of heavy rain on the 29th of September, when the day of the Stampede, we received 30 mm of rain, between 1 mm in Santa Cruz, 30 mm in Colaba. That was the rain we received. That was the sudden downpour. On an average, Mumbai has received 150 on the 27th of August, 120 on 21st of August, 100 mm 12th July, 160 mm on the 17th of July, 250 mm on the 29th of August, and 250 mm between the 20th and the 21st of September. 30 mm of rain was a sudden downpour that caused the death of 23 people. Are you joking? This is the report that you have accepted? Will any right-thinking Mumbaikar accept sudden downpour of rain as a justification?
Can I speak?
Please, go ahead. Explain this to me.
See, let us understand, as I have already accepted this breach should have been widened, but it was not widened. It is a mistake. And therefore, whosoever is guilty, he'll be punished.
How will he be punished if your investigation is not even looking into it?
First, understand there are 2 kinds of investigations. The report which has come today, the terms of reference of that investigation was to see what has happened in those 8 minutes time. So terms of reference was that only, what exactly has happened. And for this widening of breach and all that thing and 18 months delay, another committee, high-level committee, inquiry is instituted today. They will carry out this function. On very 30th September, Mr. Piyush Goyal constituted multidisciplinary 13 committees, 5 for Central Railway and 8 for Western Railway.
Very good at making committees.
And all those committees have submitted their report that which are the FOBs wherein we need to immediately widen the FOBs. Mr. Piyush Goyal has also given unlimited power to all general managers for the next 18 months. Don't wait for funds. Don't go into technicalities. Take all actions. I will rectify your each and every action. So actions has been taken. Now, as far as this report is concerned, this report talks about what has happened in 8 minutes. understand one thing. These incidents happened on 29th of September. On 28th September, same kind of footprints were there. Footprints were there. On next day also same were there. So therefore on 29th, what exactly has happened? Those fact finding was to be done by this committee. Committee offered suggestions and witnesses, and only 28 people and 2 eyewitnesses appeared there. Committee also took.
Your problem is that not enough people came forward.
It's not like that. So it's a constitutional process. If committee has given some finding, you have to accept it.
I would refuse to accept it.
No.
Your committee is a sham. Your fact-finding is a sham. Your inquiry is a sham. Your report is a sham. All of this is a sham. And you're telling me that I should accept it? I refuse to accept it. I'm opening this up to the rest of our panelists one by one. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, do you accept this report?
I think this is extremely insensitive and stupid. And I would believe that at the very least, some action must be taken against people who form such a sham commission. Sudden rains, the truth they are trying to run away from. The truth is, almost every day there are a number of places where such complete overcrowding is occurring, and it's an accident waiting to be happen. It was an accident waiting to be happen. Unfortunately, those people who were on that bridge died. And I don't think anybody is learning the right lessons if they say sudden downpour. The right lesson is safety has not been audited in most of our trains, stations, platforms. And I wish, instead of a knee-jerk reaction saying we'll only create more foot-over bridges, the railways were to undertake a safety audit of various places in the whole train system. If they did that, maybe they will be on the right path, but at this moment, it appears they are only willing to blame the rain god and say, oh, it was a sudden downpour. What happened? Something very funny happened. Somebody said fool. It was meant as pool. It was not that. It was the fact that the facility was inadequate. It was the fact that the bridge was sanctioned 2 years back. It was the fact that they were probably waiting for commission stroke corruption to actually start the project. These are the facts. Instead of bringing out these facts, we have this ridiculous report which everybody is accepting. I think the names of those who made this report should be brought out, and they should be named and shamed at the very least.
Rita Gupta.
Faye, frankly speaking, the report which they have given, I think the people, like Mr. Gandhi said, they should have really, their names should come out. And another thing, what happened there on 29th of September, if Faye, you go to see this bridge is made when British used to rule the country. And from that time, if you go to see, it's 6 foot, that bridge is. And central and western, both sides, when train comes, the people go up and down from the small bridge. If that thing, I think they were 2 years back or 3 years back, the report was given, this bridge is not okay, you have to repair it or you have to look into it. Nobody did it. I think the MP from Shiv Sena and other MPs also gave the report.
Up in Parliament, yes.
Yes, they gave, it's not proper, it may cause death for the people, or it may cause any accidental things could happen. But nobody took it seriously. It was just like how they say ki mera paisa aata hai ki nahi, mera commission aata hai ki nahi, and all this was happening. But nobody took it seriously. And today, if Mr. Fadnis is not understanding the 23 people who lost their lives, we ourselves went to their houses and we met them. We saw from one house, one's elder son is half paralyzed, younger son have died. Another person's house, we went there, we saw ki that boy, earning member has gone. Who will look after the family? I want to answer from the government now ki who will look under the answer?
Nawab Malik of the NCP. Do you believe this report? Are you willing to accept it?
See, the rain and rumor thing or theory cannot be accepted. Who is heading the inquiry? The safety officer of the railways is heading the inquiry. Who is responsible? The responsibility of the safety officer to check whether the bridges are safe or not, station are safe or not. When this safety audit has been done by the safety officer, the person who is responsible for this tragedy, he is the head of the inquiry. Definitely he will cover up. He will not say there was a mistake from the railway side. It is nothing but it's a cover up. The person who is responsible for entire incident is the safety officer. He himself is heading the inquiry committee. So this kind of a theory of rain or rumor will be there. It is just a cover-up.
Mr. Nawab Malik, you're making a very good point. And I just want to point out, yes, Mr. Malik, I want to point out, we did not vote this safety officer. We don't know who this safety officer is. We have not chosen him. We have chosen representatives in the government, state and central government, who are supposed to be looking after us. Where are these representatives? How did they think that this sort of report was okay? If there is a safety officer who is making money on the side and killing people in return, our chief minister should be looking out for us. Our railways minister should be looking out for us. We voted for these people. Where is the chief minister Devendra Fadnavis? Why won't he talk about this?
See, Mr.
Why won't he come forward?
See the chief, listen. This is chief minister. What he is tweeted, there is a government in the center belongs to Bharatiya Janata Party. He belongs to the same party. If there is a adequate safety things are there, after one day, why he has sent a message? The entire bridges in the Mumbai local will be widened. The adequate infrastructure will be developed in the Mumbai city. That means there is something wrong. There are overcrowded entire suburban railway. It needs a decongestion of every station in the Mumbai city. This is all failure. And a safety officer always responsible for giving a certificate this all system is safe. If he has made an audit of this bridge or not, who is responsible then? That's why this is nothing but a cover-up report to save some of the people within the railway, and we don't accept this report.
Faye, I think, personally, you and I are both Mumbaikars, as are many people on the panel. I think what is particularly disappointing is that both Mr. Suresh Prabhu and Piyush Goyal are from Mumbai, and they are supposedly amongst the better minds in Mr. Modi's cabinet. I think for them to allow the situation to explode to such an alarming and disturbing level where people are dying on Mumbai's bridges or stations is, I think, terribly pathetic. I was reading the note of Mr. Prabhu where he says that the issue of the Elphinstone Bridge is under positive consideration, and this is way back in 2016. Yesterday or day before, we had a BJP spokesperson on the panel who said we are building X kilometers of roads daily in India. But the truth is there are 18 stations which have been already highlighted in 2016 in a Mumbai Rail Vikas Corporation report, which includes places like Kalyan, Kudla, Virar and Dadar, which are meant to be susceptible to extreme pressures. On Elphinstone Bridge, if you read that report, Faye, I'm sure you have, it says that during peak hours, the Elphinstone Bridge can shake. A bridge can shake. And, Mumbai has progressively become very crowded. Even a report 3 years old is old because the traffic is rising on account of huge urban migration. So, even if you improve a facility today, you have to keep improvising it after another couple of years. And there is no escaping the reality that we are in
you can give us all of these suggestions, but you should have given the suggestions when your government was in power and when your government decided to open up the mill land in central Mumbai and turn it into offices, so people would have to get off at Elphinstone and get on that bridge without improving any of the infrastructure. Every government that has been in charge of this city up until now is responsible for the death of those 23 people. But the thing that breaks my heart today is that the government that is in charge today did not throw this report out. I expected that the Railways Ministry and the state government will take this report and fling it out of the window and saying this is an insult to my voters and my citizens. I do not accept this report. I am shocked that neither state government nor Railways Minister has said anything and have actually accepted this report. Sameer Zaveri, आपने report पढ़ा? आपको कैसा लगा?
Yes. See, the BJP government promised the citizens for transparency and accountability. This report clearly exposed the BJP government and their wearing the mask. The Suresh Prabhu, in 2 years, number of newspaper published the advertisement that Suresh Prabhu is flanking off the train. Last year, December 24th, Mr. Narendra Modi came to Mumbai. Railway spent 24 lakh rupees to publish the advertisement in the newspaper with the photo of Narendra Modi that he is putting foundation stone of the railway project. And total 1 crore 30 lakhs rupees was spent in 2 years for such only advertisements. And at other end, the same Suresh Prabhu wrote to the Honorable Member of Parliament of Shiv Sena, Arvind Sawant sir, that we have shortage of fund. In response to, he wrote the letter that requirement of this widening the bridge. So, why this report does not cover this? Second, recently Piyush Goyal after this incident, because the politicians acted as per public mood, because they fear of the vote. They don't want to lose the voting. That's all.
So, you don't want to lose the
Piyush Goyal was in the Mumbai. Thereafter 2nd October, 1 week ago, I was at Chembur station. There was not a single railway protection force staff deployed, and I got Twitter reply from the Central Railway Protection Force. And the same Piyush Goyal was in Mumbai for 2 days. More than 50 railway protection for personnel for his protection. So if first do our safety security, because in Mumbai we face terrorist attacks, and we left the station without railway protection for staff. And third thing, where the Mr. Piyush Goyal held the meeting at the Churchgate, just opposite there is the Churchgate station, which is the first suburban station, whereat we all know that 2 years ago train came on the platform.
Yes.
It was accident. So the buffer, out of two, one is broken. 2 days ago I clicked the photo and I sent to the Piyush Goyal, ki you said utmost priority to passenger safety. Do what you said. What is this? Since more than 1 year. You are not repaired it. You are not repaired there.
Afroz, I want to bring in Afroz Malik. Afroz Malik, we've heard about the fact that the Mumbai Rail is that the Indian Railways is responsible. Delhi में बैठते हैं लोग, उनको मालूम नहीं कि मुंबई में क्या होता है. Are you buying this argument?
उनके परिवारों की जान नहीं जाती है, और ये कमीशन की जो रिपोर्ट इन्होंने दी है वो बिल्कुल मरने वालों के घर वालों पर जख्मों पर नमक छिड़कने जैसा है. और रिपोर्ट में इन्होंने अभी पाटिल साहब ने कहा कि कोई आया नहीं सामने, उन्होंने किसी को बुलाया नहीं. हमने 29 तारीख को एक एप्लीकेशन दिया था कि इनके ऊपर एफआईआर होनी चाहिए जिस तरह क्रिमिनल केस लॉन्च होता है.
इन्विटेशन दिया गया,
उसके बाद भी किसी हमारे पास कोई रिप्लाई नहीं आया, और कोई किसी ने हमारी बात सुनने की गवारा नहीं की, हमारी जहमत. और मुंबई का लगातार ये लोग बता रहे हैं कि बरसात होने की वजह से और वो एक रूमर फैलने की वजह से हादसा हुआ. तो ये मुंबई का जो लगातार ट्वीट कर रहे थे, और एक दिन पहले तक ट्वीट होता रहा, मुंबई का बताते रहे एल्फिस्टन रोड पे हादसा हो सकता है. 2 सालों से 3 सालों से लोग ट्वीट कर रहे हैं. तो क्या वो मुंबई का अवेयर नहीं थे? तो उनसे भी तो आप सजेशन ले सकते थे इस रिपोर्ट के बारे में. और रिपोर्ट जो बनाई गई है वो तो ऐसा है कि जैसे खुद मुजरिम भी खुद हैं, जज भी खुद हैं, वकील भी खुद है, और आपने डिसाइड भी कर लिया है कि ये बेकसूर है सारे लोग.
मिस्टर पाठक, आप अफरोज मलिक की जवाब दे दीजिए.
See, first of all, I deny that there was a newspaper advertisement in all the newspaper across that you can come before the inquiry and submit your submissions. Number one. Secondly, I just want to ask one thing. See, on 28th of September, same amount of footfalls were there. On 30th and today also, same amount of footfalls are going on. I am not defending, I am not denying this bridge should have been widened. I am accepting that. And therefore, on 29th, in those 8 minutes, what exactly has happened? For that purpose, as a matter of inbuilt system, Railway has instituted inquiry through Chief Safety Officer. And if he has found certain things, how can you straight away throw away?
Okay.
And on the various...
What is the Chief Safety Officer's job in the Western Railways?
Pardon me?
What is the Chief Safety Officer's job in the Western Railways?
See, in the railways, there are two kinds of inquiries in relation to safety going on. One is Commissioner of Safety, which is reported to Civil Aviation. When any accident happens beyond the premise of the railway, then that inquiry conducts inquiry. When it is within the premises, that is railway station, but not out of running train, any death has occurred, then this kind of inquiry is instituted. So it is a matter of practice since ages, and as per that practice, this commission has given this report. Now, without considering, without understanding, just on debate, we cannot reject it. We have to mull over that.
You're mulling over it. You're mulling over it. Mr. Gandhi?
I think, sir, you are talking of investigating officers. I thought the term used was safety officer. Maybe the safety officers have forgotten their main job and think they only have to investigate something when there is a chaos. Let me also share another thing about the very, very low standard of safety and the low concern for safety. There are over 10,000 people across the nation who are supposed to be in safety related works in railways, who are working as peons and private domestic servants of senior railway officers all across the nation. And there's not a word of it.
That practice is stopped by Mr. Goel 2 days back only.
2 days. So actually tell me something. You know, I'm tempted. Are we accepting here that Mr. Suresh Prabhu did absolutely nothing when he was Railways Minister and he achieved nothing? So Mr. Piyush Goel has now come down like a messiah and he's getting everything done week after week in 2 days, in the last 10 days, in the last 12 days. So what was Suresh Prabhu doing? Please tell me. And why is he still Industries Minister?
See, during his tenure as a Railway Minister, the additional lines, then conversion of small gauge into broader gauge, many things have happened in Mr. Prabhu's regime also. I'm not saying everything is done in his regime, but whatever is undone, it is taken forward.
I'm opening up this debate. Samir Zaveri, Samir Zaveri.
We are talking about already we lost the 23 people. I am talking about tomorrow 10 more people is going to die in Mumbai suburban. Right. Every day they are going to die. The political party, the railway officers are responsible. How? I got RTI reply that in Mumbai division, every second day there is the rail track fracture. 400 time fracture in 2 years, this is the RTI reply from the railway authority. So because of fracture, they do weld. Again weld failure, again fracture. So that person become weak. So they put the restriction, lower the speed of the train. So they lower the speed. For example, train run at 80 or 100, they put at 50, which affect the frequency of the train. So in Mumbai suburban section, due to overcrowding, every year 2,500 passengers fall from running train. 800 people died. Your BJP government, tell your BJP government what they are going to do. How you will stop this death?
You know, yes. Here, I will also like to ask the BJP government now, ki after 29th, now I think this is the 14th or 15th day going on, still they are investigating. When will they start their work? When will they start doing winding the bridges? Still they are going to wait. And now I have come to know Mr. Fadnis, you are asking where is he? He is busy, you know where, I will tell you, he is busy going to schools and telling the children, please don't have your festival, Diwali festival with crackers. Eat sweets, wear good clothes and have your Diwali festivals. Is this the job of him? Or he should go to these places, go to the families, ask them ki what has happened. Is he going to offer job to the family members?
I'm not going to question what the Chief Minister does with his time. That's up to him. If he's doing an anti-cracker drive, I'm sure he has his heart in the right place. I just want to know why nobody in the ministry or the state government have rejected this piece of garbage report that has come out today. Why have we allowed this to happen? Why have we insulted the citizens? Nawab Malik has his hand up. We also have people coming in on the phone line. Nawab Malik, go ahead.
See, basically what is the problem? Here in the Mumbai city, the Mumbai suburban entire system is overcrowded. It is built for 15 lakh people. Now 80 lakh people are utilizing. This is the basic problem. So we have to improve the entire infrastructure. In 1997, the Rail Vikas Corporation company has been made. MUTP plan has been made for the improvement of railway suburban system. In first phase, 5,000 crore rupees has been we got from the World Bank, and by the loan of that World Bank, MUTP, the work has been started. The second phase was there, third phase was there. What happened to that? There was a program of decongestion of the railway station. Why not that program has been taken? There was the program of SATIS to decongest the station. Why the people in the government are not accepting? For the Kurla, a SATIS program has been always demanded by the local corporators, the local politician, and they have never cleared it. Today the commissioner is saying, bring that proposal for decongestion of the Kurla station. This kind of an approach is there within the government, within the bureaucracy. That's why this kind of a situation is there.
Let me bring in our viewers on the phone line. Let me bring in our viewers on the phone line. Patrick is on the phone line from Mumbai.
Who the people are doing?
Right. 1 second, sir. 1 second. Patrick is on the phone line from Mumbai. Patrick, go ahead.
Faye, I just want to say this to everyone, that commissions appointed, their findings have no legal binding. It's a joke on the Indian people. We spend our own hard-earned money of the exchequer to have these commissions of inquiry. and nothing ever comes out of it. If the gentleman involved for safety in the railways, if he can ever come to Kurla station on a Saturday when the Harbour Line trains come in and you are coming from the main line, he will know what fright is. It's an accident just waiting to happen. It is utter chaos on the FOB, utter chaos. The Congress governments, successive Congress governments were there. Everybody, all politicians claim to be Mumbai, but none of them travel by that local line. I do not claim to travel by it. I travel by it occasionally, and I'm frightened.
Sanjay Jha, respond to that. Successive governments, Sanjay Jha, successive governments have let us down. It's not just this one government.
No, there is no... No, Faye, let me tell you, there is no denying that the problem or the crisis is one that has been escalating over a period of time. The fundamental point that I would like to raise here is simple. That end of day, if you look at, for example, this report right now, which talks about rain and rumors, I'll tell you where it is being disingenuous. Even if the rain and rumors created an element of panic, the truth is that if the bridge, the foot-over bridge wasn't enough for just 3 people, the deaths would not have happened. The stampede happened because there was no place, it was congested and crowded, which is the fundamental point. Now what the railways is saying, that it was because of rain and rumor, but there was no space, and that space had to be increased, and that is the real problem. And for that, because the government was aware of it for quite some time,
would you accept that when the mill land in central Mumbai was converted to office spaces, the government in power at that point, centre and state, that made those changes and brought in a lot of money, should have also upgraded the stations and did not, and as a result are responsible for what happened today. And the government in power was a combination of the Congress and the NCP.
Well, let me be very honest with you, Faye. I agree with you completely that urban infrastructure and planning in our whichever government in center or state, whichever party, I think has been extremely shoddy and shabby. There is no escaping that reality. It's unpardonable. It's a criminal offense in my mind to not be planning for a future where your metropolis can sink under the weight of the population. There's no denying that. It's a true fact. It's a true fact that we are running our country
is the Elphinstone Bridge stampede partly the responsibility of the Congress? Can you at least admit that instead of just making a big statement? Just admit that this bridge collapse, not collapse, sorry, my apologies, this stampede and this death of 23 people, the blame lies equally with the earlier governments as with the current government. Would you accept that at least? Let's start with at least some level of honesty, Sanjay.
I think it is with their government, because in those days in 2005 or 4,
I will.
mills were converted into residential place, shopping malls, theatres, and where the people...
Nawab Malik's hand up as well. Nawab Malik, will the Congress NCP government take responsibility, partially at least, for what has happened?
No, I can answer that question, Faye. Faye, I can answer the question.
Listen. Exactly what is the problem in the Mumbai city? The only public transport mode is the railway, suburban railway. So it requires more public transport system. We started to work on metros. We started to work on monos. There was a program of seaways.
Mr. Nawab Malik, people are travelling from trains. First, the bridges should be repaired
within the stipulated period. That is the problem.
So let all the people who are taking the train today die,
and then
10 years from now you'll have a metro rail. That's the same thing that Devendra Fadnavis is also saying, right? So what is your problem then? You're all the same. None of y'all care.
Another incident should take place. Now more people should die, and then you'll think of other things.
Executed. Phase 1, phase 2 has been completed. Phase 3 is under process.
Should there have been a wider foot-over bridge at Elphinstone? Mr. Malik, Mr. Malik,
the program should be
ready to answer for that.
Should there have been a wider bridge at Elphinstone built when you were in the government? Yes or no?
Please answer yes or no.
Yes, definitely. There should be a wider bridge.
So you are also responsible. That's we expect at least that level of
responsibility. They work through the entire infrastructure of the department.
Afroz Malik.
हम लोग, जब मेरी उम्र 44 साल है और मैंने 44 साल में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो रेलवे प्लेटफॉर्म्स के बदलाव में ये देखा है कि कहीं प्लेटफॉर्म की हाइट ऊंची की जा रही है, कहीं प्लेटफॉर्म के टाइल्स लगाए जा रहे हैं, वेंडिंग मशीन बढ़ाई जा रही है, हर चीज़ का पैसा लेने का सारा साधन बढ़ाया जा रहा है, मगर राहगीरों को गुजरने के लिए कोई सुविधाएं नहीं बढ़ी। आज तक मैंने नहीं देखा है कि कोई ब्रिज नया बना हो। मैंने जिस तरह से मेरे पैदा होने के बाद से मैं देखता आया हूं, लगातार उसी हालत में रेलवे की हालत है और पैसे के जो बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, मुंबई का लगातार पैसे की डिमांड उनकी पूरी करता जा रहा है।
अफरोज जी, जो आप कह रहे हो बहुत सही कह रहे हैं। बीजेपी के ही बहुत सारे एमपी से जो सब रेलवे स्टेशन पे जाके नाप ले रहे थे जब वो गवर्नमेंट में नहीं थे, और ये कांग्रेस वालों के ऊपर वो तोहमत लगा रहे थे। मगर अब मेरा यही कहना है, अब बीजेपी सरकार में है तो वो क्यों नहीं कर रही है? बिल्कुल सोए हुए हैं, और ताज्जुब की बात है कि विपक्ष भी बिल्कुल सोया हुआ है, विपक्ष भी कोई एक्शन में नहीं है। इसी वजह से ये लोग लगातार जो भी इनकी मनमानी करते जा रहे हैं, और जो इनको टिकट भाड़े में लगातार भाड़ा में बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं, मगर मुंबई का जो सबसे ज्यादा रेवेन्यू दे रहा है, सबसे ज्यादा रेवेन्यू, सबसे ज्यादा टैक्स भर रहा है, फिर भी आज मर रहे हैं लोग। उनके लिए उनके पास 2 सालों से जो ब्रिज पास हुआ है, उन्होंने अपने एक हमारे एमपी को बताया है कि 2 सालों से जो पैसे पास हुआ है ब्रिज, उसको पैसे भी उनके पास नहीं है, ऐसा बता रहे हैं। ये तो ऐसा बता रहे हैं जैसे देश दिवालिया हो चुका है।
मिस्टर विश्वास पाठक, क्या मुंबई की जनता कल से ऑफिस जाना बंद करे?
There is no question
हड़ताल पे जाए, चलो कल से ऑफिस जाना हम लोग बंद करते हैं। पूरी मुंबई में कल से कोई ऑफिस नहीं जाएगा, क्योंकि जाने का कोई रास्ता ही नहीं है। You are just telling me that the Elphinstone station is still not safe, Kurla station is not safe, Andheri station is not safe, none of our stations are safe. We'll stay at home, we'll wait for the metro to come, which is very good. We'll stop going to office.
I'll give some figures from
what taxes will your government make if we stop going to office?
See, from 2007 to 2014,
how many people died?
How many FOBs have been constructed? Look at those figures.
How many people died?
3 years.
Per year, more than 6,000 to 7,000 people are dying in this railway.
Bandra,
due to different reasons.
See, this problem cannot be solved overnight, nor we are claiming that we have solved this problem.
What have you done?
But in 3 years, number of FOBs which a single Western Railway alone has constructed are 22 in 3 years.
Where?
Patil Saab.
All across Western Railway in Bombay.
Patil Saab.
Now, this Elphinstone Bridge should have been also constructed, but the reason why it was not constructed,
Samir Zaveri, is this true? Samir Zaveri, is this true? Kya ye sach hai, Samir Zaveri?
And that bridge construction because of the Honorable Bombay High Court gave directions in the 2004, 6 October 2004 to construct foot of bridge. Demand and supply standard. Okay, so that work was planned 6 years ago. Now they are saying that we have done it. So it is finishing that tenure. One more thing, the BJP highly criticized Congress in last election for the corruption, but the same is going on in BJP. After this, the bridge and Stampede issue, the passengers started raising voice about the encouragement of the hawker on the foot of bridge. So thereafter, Railway Minister Piyush Goyal, the DG RPF, stated that no hawker on railway bridge. But one national TV channel, the journalist did the sting operation at Chaniro station. The uniformed police compromised with the 50 rupees bribe for allowing 1 hour hawker hawking on the railway bridge. And Santa Cruz, the railway protection force constable said, दिल्ली से सब लोग आए, अभी नहीं, 15 दिन के बाद आना. And there are the incidents reported by the newspaper with the evidences that railway protection force who are duty bound to protect the railway area passage
you
safety,
don't
they are
worry now,
involved in
no
the corruption.
hawkers are going to
So
sit on the railway stations. We are there.
And one more
and
thing,
you have seen ki last 3 days
in
what is
BJP
happening.
government, one passenger was thrown out by railway protection force in the
I think
Chambal
this the
Express
government
in
should have
Jhansi
done.
because he was recording the corruption of this railway protection force staff. He was thrown out, he was killed. It is on internet.
Yeah, I have a question for Afroz Malik, president of the Jai Ho Foundation. Afroz Malik, should the citizens of Mumbai go to office tomorrow?
बिल्कुल नहीं। जिस तरह से हालात बने हुए हैं, जो आज रेलवे में चढ़ता है उसको हमेशा खतरा बना रहता है कि बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हो जाते हैं, कोई तैयारी नहीं है, इतनी भीड़ होती है, जो उम्र दराज हैं, जो बीमार लोग हैं, ट्रेन में चढ़ नहीं पाते हैं 11 बजे, तो और हम लोग से कीमत तो पूरी ली जा रही है, और हमको जब सर्विस नहीं दी जा रही है तो हमसे कीमत लेने का भी उनको हक नहीं है। और जिस तरह पाटिल साहब ने बताया कि हम लोगों ने तेज ब्रिज का जो काम कर रहे हैं, मैं आपको एक लेटर दिखाता हूं, वेस्टर्न रेलवे का एक लेटर है, जिन्होंने नौपाड़ा के एफओबी का लेटर है ये, और उन्होंने बताया था कि लेटर में कि 15 फरवरी को ये काम शुरू हो जाएगा, मगर अभी तक वहां पर एक भी ईंट नहीं रखी गई है। तो मुझे लगता है कि वो भी ब्रिज के हादसे का इंतजार कर रहा है, उसके लिए भी आपके पास फंड नहीं है। क्या लोग और मरे? तो आप क्या मुंबईकर की जान इतनी सस्ती है कि लोग मरते जाएं और आप लोग बैठ के तमाशा देखते रहे? इसी तरह आप लोग का जो चल रहा है कि डिपार्टमेंटल इंक्वायरी हो रही है और आप लोग इस तरह से जो बहानेबाजी और टालम टुल्ली और ढकलम ढकली कर रहे हो, क्या वो सही है? क्या मुंबईकर्स की जान की कोई कीमत नहीं है?
बोलिए विश्वास पाठक जी.
See, before this, much has been talked about Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. For your information, Mr. CM was out of India, and from there he deputed his senior-most guardian minister as well as Minister Mr. Vinod Tawde, who is heading this multidisciplinary committee, and he is part of all those things. Now, this 13 committees.
Has Mr. Tawde read this report?
I'm not privy to that information.
It's PIB, Government of India, Ministry of Railways, 11th October, it has come out today. Has Mr. Tawde read this report?
I am not privy to that information.
Has he
However, if
rejected
this is the report, it is through constitutional process. We have to respect that. Just on TV channel, we cannot throw away, reject it. Again, I am telling you, it was the terms of reference.
This is how much respect I am giving this.
No, you can do that much only. You should have gone before the commission and put across. Just 15 minutes show, shouting and throwing and all that thing, it doesn't make any sense. Let us be constructive, support this government. This government is doing many more things.
Why?
Mr.
What
Pathak,
proof
we have
do you
not
have?
lost
What
our family
confidence?
members.
What
You should think
confidence
about
is the
them.
government giving us that you are demanding support to this?
This
You want
government
us
is
to be constructive?
This government is committed to many things which
What
is
are you
happening
committed to?
and which is seen, witnessed day by day. Yesterday also when these elections happened, people supported this government only. So just you making negativity about this government doesn't make any sense. People are with us. This government is doing.
I'm inviting our viewers to call us on our phone lines. Our phone lines are open. Please call us right now. Let Mr. Vishwas Pathak know how much support he has. And if I'm the one who's spreading negativity right now, Afroz Malik, क्या मेरी गलती है?
बिल्कुल हमारी गलती नहीं, हम तो पूरी कीमत चुकाते हैं, जो हम लोग यूज करते हैं उसकी कीमत चुका रहे हैं, मगर उसके साथ हमारी जानें भी जा रही हैं, हम अपनी जानों से भी उसकी कीमत चुका रहे हैं। इन लोगों को शर्म आनी चाहिए। और बीजेपी के लोग जो श्रद्धांजलि के लिए गए हुए थे वहां पे, वो लोग मुस्कुराते हुए और नेताओं को खुश करते हुए नजर आ रहे थे। उनको मुझे ऐसा लगता है मुंबईकर्स की जानों के लिए उनके पास कोई एहसास नहीं है और मुंबईकर्स की जान की उनके लिए कोई कीमत नहीं है। और जो ये लोग ये सोच रहे हैं कि हम लोग ये रिपोर्ट निकालने के बाद हम लोग आराम से बैठेंगे, तो हम लोग आरटीआई डाल के जो कमीशन की जो इनकी जो रिपोर्ट उन्होंने बनाई है, उसके बाद हम लोग पीआईएल डालेंगे और इनको दिखा देंगे कि जो रिपोर्ट है बिल्कुल झूठी है और बेबुनियाद है।
Mr. Gandhi,
Mr. Pathak, whether we support a government or not, or a political party or not, is not the issue. I think in this panel we've said the earlier government was also responsible, and at least those political party representatives agreed to take the responsibility. The issue is there has been an absolutely insensitive and shameless report that has come, and I wish this government were to say this is trash. Then we'll all be on the same page, and we'll know that maybe we are hoping to learn out of this. When you tell us that this report is okay, I don't know about it, it gives us a feeling that the whole approach is not to learn anything and just ride over this current problem, and then we'll wait for the next accident to occur. That is our worry, Mr. Pathak, and I wish you could see that problem which is bothering all of us.
Faye, I would like to say that we being in opposition, Mr. Raj Thackeray has taken such a good step, and for the people he stood there. I think instead of us, the ruling party should have stood for the people and done their work. But still, I don't think till when are they going to take the decisions?
Sanjay,
Faye, just one point. I'm not going to shirk away from the responsibility of whatever errors we may have done during our time. But there's a reason why elections are held every 5 years, because you get an opportunity to rectify the mistakes of the past and make the changes that you believe are good for the people. Therefore, governments get judged for a 5-year performance. I'm personally, I find it almost amusing now to hear that you have any discussion on any problem, they call it as a legacy problem before 2014. Then why were you voted to power at all? Now, supposing we win in 2019, we can't complain that the BJP messed up, because people will say, well, what is the Congress going to do? So I think we should move on and say that, listen, if you recognize there is a problem, what are you going to do about it? What speed do you show? Are you taking the necessary decisions to accelerate the process of change? So I think we need to have a more politically mature discussion, and I'm willing to be very upfront with you. I think urban planning in our country, particularly urban infrastructure, across states, across the country, whichever political party, is terrible. I mean, Indian cities don't look beautiful at all. They look terrible. You go anywhere, there's no housekeeping, there is no planning. You know, you can make out that driving in a city is a monumental challenge. With Uber and Ola now all over the place, you can't even park a car in a city. So these are realities of our times. And I don't want to reduce this to a tutu meme, but if this government was aware, that's my only point. If there were reports that the railway minister knew that the bridges are vulnerable, he should have taken action. And that, I think, is definitely an act of criminal negligence.
Well, I just want to point out this data. Do you know that among all of the metros, Mumbai contributes 50% of the income tax and the excise duty that is collected by the governments of our country? 40,000 crore rupees in tax goes from Mumbai to the state of Maharashtra every year. And this is a very old number. I don't have the latest number. That is the kind of contribution this city makes. And these politicians don't care at all if we die tomorrow. Rafiq on the phone line, Vishwesh on the phone line right now from Mumbai. Vishwesh, go ahead.
First of all, I would like to thank Mirror Now for actually following up thoroughly on this issue, wherein we are actually facing the problem day in and day out. Now, first of all, I would actually like to speak to the gentleman from the Railway Authority, Mr. Patil, when he says that, you know, the report which is being...
He's a representative of the BJP. He's not from the Railways Authority, but go ahead.
Yeah, so even if he's saying that it's a constitutional report and he's trying to, you know, hide behind the fact that it is a constitutional report and it should be accepted, let's first of all understand that Constitution is here to protect us all. It is not here, you know, to actually find ways and means to actually escape this entire serious issue. Secondly, what I wanted to point out that either it is BJP or it is Congress, they or any other political party, they are completely not concerned about the apathy of the commuters, because had that been the case, this issue has been going on since the last 10-15 years. Every day there is a chance of accident or any major mishap which can happen, but nobody wants to pay attention to that. I am sure that they would want to actually, you know, want their voter bank to be in place. So that is the easiest way out, is to just tweet once on the Twitter channel or just to pass on comment on the news channels, and after that set up certain inquiry committees and forget about the whole issue. Even right now when we are discussing this issue, I am sure Mr. Jha is ready pointing out all the issues that have been happening during BJP times. I would, as you correctly pointed out, that what did they do during the Congress time? So the point is actually what you said, you know, that we need to actually take this issue very seriously. And I don't know how these guys are going to do, because if tomorrow Mirror Now stops following this entire issue, this will again go down the drain. So I hope that these gentlemen sitting here take cognizance of such serious issue which is at our hand.
All right. We have to take this seriously. Shankar on the phone line from Mumbai. Shankar, go ahead.
To know out of the panelists, how many people travel by train on daily? One. Number two, how many railway employees, the senior level, they travel by train? Two. Number three, what action has been taken against the railway officials who have not brought out the tender for FOV, which was passed around 4 years
One
back.
second. Just raise of hands, how many people on the panel take the train on a regular basis?
None. I am saying none. So they don't know what is the pain.
I travel today. I also came from Andheri.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
No, so I want to point out that Afroz Malik is the president of the Jai Ho Foundation, and Samir Zaveri is a railway activist. This is what Samir Zaveri does for a living. He goes from station to station. After Samir had a terrible accident on the Mumbai local. And Samir, I'm sorry, I'm going to share your story with my audience because they don't know why we call our panelists. Samir had an accident on the Mumbai local where he lost both his legs. He has since then dedicated his time and his energy to making our railways safer. And Samir, I believe, is a beacon of hope, who gives me hope that he never gives up. He faces this sort of nonsense on a daily basis, these sort of hollow answers. He's an RTI activist. He gets hollow, infuriating answers every day, and he doesn't give up. He makes sure that he keeps fighting. So when Samir says he takes the train, I know he takes the train. Go on, Shankar.
Not about him, but about the other panelists.
Yes.
They all are traveling with a bodyguard and they have all the luxuries. They don't know what is the pain of Bombay Cur. One. Number two, even if you have been telling that Bombaykar should not go to work tomorrow. You know how many daily wages people are working? How is the chula going to be there in their houses? And Diwali is on the corner. And all these people are only talking. They will be having at least around 15 sentries who will be helping them with removing the shoes to everything. But Bombaykar, they don't have that luxury.
They don't have that luxury. KK Menon on the phone line from Mumbai. KK Menon, go ahead.
Hi. My question is to Sanjay Da.
Yes.
Actually, he's a politician. So I just want to ask him that whether he will be able to use train by travel. He will be able to travel by train without escort and some charge. And will you able to do it, sir?
Mr. Sanjay Jha, would you take the train?
Well, let me tell you that I consider myself, I've traveled in the local train, by the way, when I was studying and doing my MBA project here in Mumbai. But that was many years ago. I did it for a brief time when I was here in Mumbai, and I wasn't here for a long time. And I'll be very honest with you. Since '92, since I moved to Mumbai, my office and my home has been very close, and I haven't needed to travel by train. But I empathize, and I want to let you know I empathize with the local commuter. I have people in my office, by the way, majority of them use the local train. I have people who work at my home who use the local
Vishwas
train.
Pathak, do you
So
take
end
the
of the day,
local
let me
train?
tell you, even if I'm not there, I understand the pain or the anguish of people and what they go through. So I'm
Vishwas Pathak,
completely on the
Vishwas
side
Pathak
of
put his hand
everybody
up.
today
Vishwas
who's
Pathak
complaining
represents
about
the
train
BJP. Do
infrastructure
you
in
take
Mumbai
the
or
local
India.
train, Vishwas Pathak?
Yeah, listen, yes. For your information, I am a third generation railway employee. I have worked for railways for 8 years. My father was also station master. All these commuters, all these travelers, you don't know what kind of effort these railway employees are putting. The way you are brushing away, the way you are blaming them for one mistake, I think it is very, it's not correct on your part. I travel regularly with the railways and I know what railway, and therefore I support and salute to the railway people who are giving
So if the railway people are working
water
so
and all
hard,
that.
if the railway people are working
No, you are
so hard,
asking whether I'm traveling or whether I'm telling
so
you.
then what is going wrong? Tell me what's going wrong. Railway people are working very hard. Is it the commuters? Are we at fault? Should few of us take the train from
For
tomorrow?
70 years, we have developed certain systems. For 70 years, there are certain issues. We need to change those issues. For last 3 years, this government is trying to change those issues. FOBs are to be widened. FODs are to be replaced. Just for your information, this government is going to upgrade the railway lines. Why these accidents are happening? We simply say these accidents are happening in last couple of years. But for your information, has anybody understood why profit has gone up when Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav was railway minister? There is a certain tonnage which is expected on railways. He has suddenly raised those tonnage and increased their commercials.
पाठक साहब,
हाँ, बोलिए
इल्जाम लगाने से काम नहीं चलेगा. कांग्रेस करती थी या नहीं करती थी, आपको करके दिखाना है. जनता ने आपको करके दिखाने के लिए
3 साल में जादू नहीं होती है.
नहीं, जादू
3 साल में जादू नहीं होती है, समझ लो.
आपको लगेगा.
सिर्फ आप निगेटिविटी से मत देखो. आपको रेलवे एम्प्लॉय खराब दिख रहे हैं, आपको
टाइम
बीजेपी
लगेगा.
खराब दिख रहे हैं.
आपको जवाब देना पड़ेगा. जवाबदेही तय करनी पड़ेगी. कितना टाइम आपको लगेगा डेवलप करने के लिए? और 5 साल लगेंगे, और 10 साल लगेंगे. 3 साल में लगातार हादसे बढ़ते जा रहे हैं.
पब्लिसिटी एंड
जवाबदेही तय करनी पड़ेगी. जवाबदेही आपको लेनी पड़ेगी.
We are blaming the higher authority. We are not blaming you.
पाठक साहब, मैं एक चीज बताना चाहूंगा. आप
हर बात को ऐसे नहीं कर सकते.
The railway authority is not doing anybody any favors. People pay to use the railways. It comes out of our taxes.
The other thing they're saying,
Nobody runs the railways for free. The railway employees are not working for free. Nobody is doing anybody any favors. Do not ask us to be grateful. You have lost that right today. Do not ask us to be grateful. Do not accuse Afroz Malik and Samir Zaveri of coming here for publicity. That is completely unfair. These are people who are dedicating their lives for safety.
You should have appeared before the commission. You should have appeared before the commission.
One second.
What kind of sensitivity you have? Just holding these TV shows and blaming railway employees, blaming government.
मेरा phone number है, मेरा address है.
Unbelievable. Shehzad Khan on the phone line from Mumbai. Shehzad Khan, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say that I would like to say to Mr. Patil. I would like to say that I don't think so that the government is committed.
It's not Patil, it's Pathak.
Yes, okay, I'm so sorry. It is Mr. Pathak. I would like to say I don't think so that government is committed in doing something, but only interested in doing. I completely reject this report. I consider the range and rumor just an element of the incident, but not the root cause. The root cause is definitely the inactiveness in completing the work that they should have been doing. They should have done the repair works first. They should have done the bridge widening first. And I would also like to highlight that Mr. Nawab Manik said that we have brought up metro plans, we have brought up monorail plans, and but that is just a substitute, sir. What about the existing infrastructure? What was done to improve that? Yeah, and definitely this report is completely a disgrace on Mumbaikars. It is just an embarrassment. Definitely the 23 people who have lost their lives, the BJP government, the current government, also the previous government, all are responsible for this, the loss of life. And thanks, Mirror, now on bringing this up. Thanks a lot.
Nawab Malik ji, you want to respond?
See, somebody was asking whether they are traveling by the rail or not. I am living in this city last 57 years. Continuously, I have traveled in Mumbai suburban train. When the wooden bogies were there in the city, how the people can say they doesn't know the problem of the city? I think this kind of a debate cannot be accepted. See, you said the previous government, what they had done? Previous government has executed the MUTP1, MUTP2 widening of the railway where the slum dwellers were there beside the track.
Mr. Malik,
more than 12,000 houses we demanded, we shifted
we want
them.
both of you to
the
tell
railway
us
safety
what
system
about
has
railway
been
safety, what have you done?
Automation system has been bring to the city. Ghatkopar station decongestion was done by the previous government. The MUTP1, MUTP2 was executed in Mumbai.
What did you do about safety, Mr. Malik? Can you please tell us?
Previous government has done nothing.
One second.
Mr. Malik, compared to you, Samir Javeri has done more for safety in railways.
No, the automation system of the suburban railway, the automation system has been implemented during our period under MUTP.
Let's just Malik, one second, Mr. Malik. I think evening 5 to 6, we'll travel by train and we'll see the people how they're traveling like dogs in the train. If you see them.
Mr. Malik and Mr. Vishwas Pathak are both telling us that they are fully aware of the situation on the train. So either they think this is okay and this is a good way for citizens to travel.
1 second.
I don't know what the alternative is. 1 second. I'm going to come to you, Samir. But maybe we should just make peace at this point and blame the British who made the bridge to begin with. It was their fault. It was the British. Let's go back. Let's go back so many years and say previous government, Angrez. Let's stop there. Let's blame the British. Indranil on the phone line from Gurgaon. Indranil, go ahead.
Thank you for tuning me in, Faye.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
I am basically working in railways and metros infrastructure. I'm a civil engineer.
Yes.
So I would like to point out one thing. There's a code guideline called NFPA, that is National Fire Protection Act, which is used all over the world, including India, in railways and metros. According to that, there's an egress calculation, which says that in case of emergencies, not for normal operations, for emergencies, like when one train is there and it has unloaded its passengers, and the second train comes in suddenly in fire and people panic and start running in, there's a time period before, in that time period, the entire station should be evacuated safely. So that calculation, if done for this particular station and included in the report, it would surely show the fail calculation. The calculation should be shown. Number two is, every station, according to Indian Railways, has a station class, which is depend on the occupant demographic. That is the amount of people that the station caters for. So according to that also, that class should be revised in a certain interval of time period. So even if that is checked and included in the report, it would again show that that is much overcrowded.
So Indranil, as someone who understands all of this, how would you rate this report that we are looking at, which is now lying on the floor of my studio, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? Where would you rate this report?
Yeah, this is probably 1 or maybe 0 because this doesn't have the basic technical calculation that should be there. If it had been there, no one would have said that given a clean chit to the government and taking away the responsibilities.
Right. Thank you, Indril. Santosh on the phone line from Mumbai. Santosh, go ahead. Santosh?
1 point.
Yes.
Yeah, I have only 1 point. This government has crores of money to build statues, but they do not have value for the life of the citizen. This government is specialist in blaming the previous government, nature and people. This has to stop forthwith. People are not fools, and 2009 election will prove costly for them.
Bhaskar Prabhu on the phone line from Mumbai. Bhaskar, go ahead.
I would like to endorse very much the engineer that he said that the calculation of the passenger and that technicalities which they have said. I fully endorse what he said. This in the scale of this report, if you consider, there is no technical calculations what they have done, and citizens need to oppose. And I feel that citizens need to start boycotting outside the station, that I boycott traveling in the railways. That is what we need to give the message. Both the political parties which are there, that means Congress and BJP, I really feel surprised the way they are praising themselves that we did that and we did this. If they have done this good, then why this happened?
Why did this happen? Absolutely. Radhika, I have less than a minute. Radhika on the phone line from Mumbai. Radhika, go ahead.
Good evening. It's painful that we have had to trivialize the death of so many precious Indian lives. But one thing I want to say, Faye, is, and this is particularly to the BJP representative, sir, April 2015 is when Mr. Suresh Prabhu had sanctioned this bridge. Just like the engineer there, young engineer there, updated us. You see, if this government had come in to do away with all the problems associated with the attitudes, processes, and approaches of the Congress government, then one of the first things that they should have been doing is to be upgrading creaking infrastructure. And if it takes 2.5 years for a bridge to be tendered, then what difference have citizens of this country got? What is the difference in attitude, approach, and process, sir? Why cannot we have a system whereby within 30 days of a sanction by a minister, a tender goes online? Why cannot a tender be activated within 120 days of it being online? Is it rocket science? And secondly, the other thing that government projects suffer from is that we still cater to the lowest bid that comes in. We are talking of public infrastructure. The least costliest quote need not be catering to the need of...
Okay, absolutely, Radhika. I have to wrap up this conversation here because we've run out of time.
Excellent point.
I have to wrap up this conversation because we've run out of time, but I promise you we're not letting this go. I promise you we're going to stay on this story, because if we drop this story, no one will find out the truth. Other reports like this are going to keep getting filed. Other people are going to get away with what can only be described as culpable homicide, what can only be described as murder. For a government that came in promising us good governance and Bhrashtachar Mukt Bharat, if you had done what you promised, we would not be in this position today. If your justification is that 3.5 years is not enough, you should have said so in your election manifesto. Vote for me, but remember that 3.5 years is not enough for me to actually make any sort of concrete difference on the ground. Look at the justifications. Less than 30 mm of rain, you're telling me, caused this mayhem. Mumbai receives on a regular basis 4-5 times that rain. 4 and 5 times that rain. The confusion between Marathi and Hindi? Are you joking? There has not been a greater letdown from the government of Maharashtra than what has happened today. That the government did not stand up and simply throw this report out saying, I will not allow you to insult my citizens and my voters in this manner, because we have already lost 23 people. We are not in a position to in any way guarantee to our citizens that tomorrow it will not happen again, and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. The manner in which people travel in this city would be a crime in any other country. A crime. Do you know what it is like to stand so close to a train that is moving that quickly? People get off this train. Trains come into the station every 3.5 minutes. The platform isn't long enough for them to line up and wait for their chance to climb that bridge and exit the station. The platform isn't long enough. They're standing and lining up. There are trains passing so close that they could lose an arm or a leg or even their lives at any given point of time. All they are trying to do is go to office and reach on time. The people you see who died were chartered accountants, doctors, nurses, secretaries, IT professionals, bankers, earning members of their families. No government should have any right to treat citizens in the manner that we have been treated today. Where you allowed us to be killed. You killed 23 people from negligence and then you turned around and you shielded the people who did it. Do you think that the citizens of the city of Mumbai are stupid? Do you think we are fools? Do you think we're not aware of the fact that you're treating us worse than cattle every day? Cows are treated better in this country than the citizens of Mumbai. And that is the unfortunate truth. You spend more time and energy protecting cows than you do to the people who contribute 50% of the revenue of the state. The state government of Maharashtra needs to come out tomorrow in clear and no small terms. Rubbish this report for what it really is, because you will not find a single voice, a single knowing expert who will tell you that this is a good report. Blaming the dead for their own death is the cheapest way you could have tried to wiggle out of this situation. All we are asking for is justice. Justice that you are not willing to give it to us. You might not want to, but we will fight for the citizens of Mumbai because we are citizens of Mumbai. You might not want to. We will not let this go.